What's up, Cancers? Let's get straight to your powerful message for July. I noticed me filming like this, I give more of myself, more of my energy, more of my enthusiasm, my effort. So I'm learning to actually like the long videos. Disclaimer, my mother, whose birthday was July 3rd, is outside the door. She has a Scorpio moon, Cancer rising, yet of Mars and Aquarius. Anyway, I don't know what that means, but stuff that I do know what it means. Just know I got a hold of my emotions. It says fight for space. Cancer says fight for space for your feelings and hold space for your feelings, and eventually you will be matched correctly. Get over your feelings to find space to move emotionally. Somehow know it'll pay off. Essentially I'm saying trust your feelings and you'll be matched correctly, right? But get over your feelings to find space to move. So essentially you probably have a problem with trusting your feelings. So you have to get over yourself to trust your feelings, to move with them. And somehow know it'll pay off. How I wrote it's like a tongue twister. So I said, fight for space for your feelings and hold space for your feelings, and eventually you will be matched correctly. Get over your feelings to find space to move emotionally. Find space for your feelings and hold space for your feelings, and eventually you will be matched correctly. Get over your feelings to find space to move emotionally. I should have said, get over your feelings to find space for your feelings to move emotionally, to move correctly. So it'd be funnier if I said it like that. Find space for your feelings and hold space for your feelings, and eventually you'll be matched correctly. Get over your feelings to find space for your feelings to move emotionally. Somehow know it'll pay off. And now we have prompts, questions to ask yourself. So the prompts are made by ChatGPT, but made by my messages I input. So here's the 3 questions you may want to ask yourself, Cancer. What emotions need to be felt but not carried? What feeling have I mistaken for my identity? And the last question is, what remains after the emotional wave passes? So I'm just going to read on those 3 questions now, because just reading off these questions, my mind goes into amazing places, funny directions. I'm going off in tangents on Gemini's videos. We'll see how this one works out. We'll see. So let's see. The first question was, what emotion needs to be felt but not carried? I think I might have found a new method of reading for my channel finally. I've always did Celtic crosses. That might have been why my channel's been dwindling, because years straight I'm just doing Celtic crosses and shit. Same Taurus regimen, fucking stale. These, we'll see. We'll see. So here's the question. What emotion needs to be felt but not carried? 3 cards to answer this question. This emotion needs to be felt but not carried. Felt but not carried. Well, I would say the emotion that is felt is that you feel like people aren't trying to uphold or be stand up, and they don't care about that, and they're just gonna let shit get bad. That is an emotion that could be felt, but not carried, you know? And truly, we're looking at Gemini. So Gemini's message ultimately came down to them not having trust in themselves. The lack of trust they're projecting on someone else is actually their own lack of self-trust to be able to handle whatever transpires, right? And this emotion needs to be understood. So I guess my reading is saying you may want to face this emotion trying to pretend it's an identity called being proactive. So the good news is you can put trust back into others, and then you can put trust back into people because you feel like that's what's going on, but it's not what's going on. It's just you are not used to seeing things build like this. It's a new way of watching something build. You're just not used to this creating unity or, connection. Next question. So even though we feel like that, it's actually just a new way of... So isn't that funny? You think someone's letting shit fall apart when that's actually one way things can come together. What feeling have I mistaken for my identity? So, and I was saying, like, the identity you think you're just watching out for someone when in fact you just don't trust you know how to handle the situation. You know? And so you think you're looking out when in fact, So let's see, 3 cards. What feeling have you mistaken for your identity? Well, you truly believe you are less and you are not capable, and but still, and this is why it's positive, because what comes to mind is like, okay, you still have something you want to fulfill, though it's on this low surface level. That can separate you from your feelings to where you actually can stay consistently clear and not aware of how bad. Fuck, I'm not making it clear. the goal you want is good enough to help you look past what you view of yourself. The goal is so good, you actually can look up. So the goal is so good, you believe past what you think of yourself. You have to believe past what you feel of yourself. So the idea is, okay, you're flawed because the situation is so unfazed by you. But it's just clear on what... Some people can just be clear on who they are. Some people are just clear on their identity and accepting, you know. So the problem is, people are clear on themselves. So, what feeling have I mistaken for my identity? That you are nothing, or... Yeah, it's a belief, it's a belief, but it's still being surpassed somehow by the lower self, or, natures that are just human, just joy-seeking, fulfillment, pleasure. That simple camaraderie is enough to somehow put confidence back into yourself that we're all worth that feeling, that I'm worth that feeling, I'm worth that, that I'm worth the effort, I'm worth that pursuit, I'm worth that, and that's all that matters. Hold on. We're trying to get rid of this. Anything that helps you, trying to get rid of anything that doesn't help you trust what's unfolding, trust what's happening. The last question. Cancer, this message is not vague at all. It's not vague at all. I gotta watch it back to see how accurate it is. That's what's annoying. I'm making it right now. But if I watch it back, it'll make so much sense. So clearly you don't feel good when compared to someone or getting some opportunity, but the fact that something is so clear and honest and accepting, it actually gives you a chance to either see yourself or trust in unfolding things. So, the last question is, so our second one was, what feeling have I mistaken for my identity? Well, it's passing, because you're so receptive, this situation's so receptive and trusting. That identity's fading. That feeling is leaving, because that's just a feeling. What remains after the emotional wave passes? Oh my goodness, how do we get this card again? This is a habit. It's a habit you finally can get over and stop feeling. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a habit you can stop. You know where the lack of trust or the hopeless feeling, it comes from you ultimately. And then it could come from like you not believing in the situation, even though all you have to do is just be here, just show up. But the emotional wave is so strong, you feel so strongly it's this, and then that adds to the pressure, it adds to the feeling, to the point to where being cordial is actually more helpful than feeling about what's happening in the being friendly and doing the task actually can help move that emotional momentum somewhere and put less pressure on people to where you can actually just be okay and shit. So I even hate describing it to this degree, like I'm describing it so well. And I said, what remains after the wave passes? Bro, this reading is so fucking crazy. I forgot what I just said. Because I know we're hitting something. I couldn't even keep what I just said. I gotta read on it again. It was Star in Reverse, Knight of Cups, Wheel of Fortune, I think. So I think what you realize after it passes is that this is a habit you finally can get a hold of for connection. You have to get past yourself to get connection. So now you get over your emotions, you get connection. So, and this card came out again. But it has to do with being able to withstand the emotional wave. So the problem is you think dealing with them is a wave when it's your emotions when they're in the room. So being occupied rather than facing these emotions is the best outcome than just facing what you feel is happening, then turning it to what's the feeling that's happening now. So somehow not doing anything is better than feeling so strongly. So the answer, Cancer. Showing up like it's a job. You know, even if what you see that, damn, it looks like this is this, it looks like that's that. You still can handle it. I'm saying the same thing that I said for Gemini, really. That was their ultimate answer. And ultimately, it just comes down to your trust in yourself to do or not do something, essentially. So it's going to look like the environment is doing something when in fact the conditions are just being made, and you need to have trust through these conditions. So I know what I'm saying is going to make sense. It's like not only are things unfolding, not only are the conditions being formed, you have to have a clear attitude and not be emotional to keep the conditions forming on that level. And if you react, you could screw that up and now need to look forward to a new set of conditions. So the answer could just be keep showing up, keep getting more comfortable. You gotta keep getting more comfortable. You gotta keep showing up. You have to keep another episode of this shit until, because the feeling is getting worked out. So through the day, so that now the feeling is a volleyball you have to not let hit the ground. Keep showing up, fight past this feeling. So then you could say, so in that way, sex is good if that was a goal for someone, because on the low end, you look past the negative level of it. You look past everything a person is just to have that experience. And then on the higher level, well, that doesn't matter because you're looking at the person, not what you can do. You're looking at the fact that they're human and, they deserve to be understood. But could that even be like the engine underneath that love is like, oh, I still want to fuck the shit out of this person. Like, ultimately, you want to like screw this person, but can there still be a way to be like, from there, innocence, from that disgusting shit, rawness, that raw, smelly thing, something innocent and actually human and patient, careful, aware and shit. Not tolerant, but because in that way, then, but you have to get over yourself still to get to that. I see them in a better light, in a different perspective, different polarity or something. So what remains is that you realize our view of the situation is like a car wash we wash our minds with, and we still have the gunk of that viewpoint that we have to keep washing out with a new trust that it's okay. So as soon as you feel mistrustful of your environment, it's okay. I have to rewash my mind with trust of this environment. I have to remind myself how innocent people can be, and they can still be that way too. They can still be raw. And things can be innocently raw, innocently learning, raw. So funny, Gemini needed to learn that they need to trust themselves to handle situations. Cancer, you're dealing with the fact that trust yourself even when your environment isn't clear, or maybe isn't handling. Can you trust your environment when they're not handling the situation and you have to handle? So still having trust in your environment when you handling the problems, handling the emotions, because it's about the connection, not because at that point it's selfless. You're not doing it to fuck. You're doing it. There has to be a bigger pressure, and then in that way, pressure like financial loss, death. It helps create the diamond. So the pressure just makes it a valid experience. There has to be this emotional anxiety. Maybe the anxiety is just the pressure that's taking the place of the, plague or murderous neighboring village or animal, predator. This anxiety is now taking the spot of this predator. And now we need spiritual tools to fight off these, new predators, these new obstacles, because we eliminated the physical ones, so now we need all types of mental spiritual ones, right? So I'm sorry, Cancer. I know I'm hitting on something. God, when you get to these levels, it's hard to just keep track. It just and it's just a half-baked idea. It don't make no sense. I'm going nowhere. I know I'm keeping it lined up. So whenever you have mistrust, you have to see that as some internal pressure. You know, life's so awesome. We're just washing over our old saved programs. So we're finally clear enough to where we can clear our program. But when we have shit in front of us that looks deceptive, it's just a program playing back to us. I trust myself now to handle the situation. I trust myself because I know who I am. I trust myself to handle myself with these people, and I trust myself to handle myself with this situation. I trust myself in the situation. I trust myself. So I trust them because I know what I can do. I know what I got to do versus them. So is not be so hard on them. So if you can face, these are just saved beliefs. I hate that we've heard them before. We read these books, Law of Attraction, Manifesting, Psycho-Cybernetics, all that. It's a serious process. I mean, we think therapy is going to work. I think therapy should be like a lifelong thing for some people. But I think what I'm doing is like a decluttering, you know. One person doesn't deserve to have to hear you talk. Give them all your baggage. One person doesn't deserve to have to take all that baggage that some stranger is going to pay them. You know, I think it's left to these messages to help us align ourselves, you know. Align each other. You know, but hey, let them try. Alright, talk to me. I'll hear you out. I want to listen to your problems. Just talk to me. Yes, I'm a professional listener. I'm a professional listener. I'm not gonna talk about therapy. I gotta watch this video back because it's so much. I didn't even do a Celtic cross. It's about the lesson that's gonna keep being learned throughout the month. Trust yourself with these people. Trust yourself when they're unclear. And then, you know, yeah. And the trusting of ourselves is the new response to deception. We trust ourselves. That's the new response. I trust myself. I trust them. And I have to trust myself to trust them. So each zodiac sign's message is really layers on. If you pay attention. Because, I mean, that does make sense. You do need to trust yourself to let shit be what it's going to be. When people act how they act, you do need to trust yourself to stabilize and let it balance out, to not go overboard, and to keep them calm, right? I wonder what the next signs, because Leo's message was about having the confidence to move without being inhibited. And that's pretty much what the lesson is, moving without being inhibited. But it's about trusting yourself past, trusting what people do, and trusting yourself past what people do, how they respond. So then Leo's message is what you are doing actually. And that was Leo says, finally, we have the power to move and operate beyond our inner worries or our judgments. Still awareness changes and transforms us in these times. Be beyond any judgment that you're not good. Be an emperor when it's hopeless. When it feels hopeless. Yes. Another thing, Cancer, for this message, you are not allowed to feel hopeless. So when situations happen, trusting yourself minimizes feeling hopeless. You just trust yourself, you're not going to feel hopeless. Like, you can't, either you feel hopeless because you don't trust yourself. And it's beautiful to have no option. It's beautiful when feeling hopeless isn't an option. So, pressures are needed. The pressure's needed. And it's funny, a message so light as these words are light, but to just tell someone to not feel like that, not put that pressure on themselves. I'm losing the words as I'm saying them. I literally am forgetting what I was saying. What I was trying to say was, having the wisdom, the words, is so much more powerful than you'll avoid the hardness of the situation. Just to know these words. The experience, you won't have to experience that. Just to know this cheat code, you'll get through the hoop. Oh my God, I'm trying to maintain so much haziness. I know I'm keeping track. So the bottom line, I was trying to see what the progression was. So Geminis learn to trust themselves through whatever happens, however the outcome is. Cancers, you're learning to trust yourself despite the people's and your old. So it's trusting yourself despite the people and your old programming that you keep putting on people. So then when people are doing this, you have to trust yourself to minimize the old programming that is in there from years. So the response is to trust yourself and to trust people, even when it looks deceptive. Trust it. The simple answer would help you not blow up, to find out, to just trust people. There you go. This is a bunch of kale, chard, cilantro, cucumber, celery mixed with apple juice. And that's it. Vegetables. I just trust it's gonna help me feel good and, have energy. So I'm doing all this thinking in directions, thinking productively to come to these conclusions, to give you more thoughts that help you clear out your blockages smoothly. I'm thinking to help you think less and feel more. So let's get on to the next sign. So I'm having a blast speaking like this. So that's how I know doing the readings like this may be the next phase, because I have more energy just talking about 3 questions. And the answer you get, the outcome you get, is more of a answer to the month. That you get an answer that will just trust yourself because of your programming. Trust yourself to rid yourself of the old programming. Trust others to rid yourself of the old programming is really the answer. Later, Cancer, there's the message for July. Way more insight.